When you think Halloween, you think cool weather, costumes, Halloween parties, and especially, of course, candy. Now today we've got a great project, and it's actually, I've thought about ways of using it, and the first thing that actually came to mind was, you know, sometimes you celebrate Halloween in the office and you want to bring something, you want to have a cool way to present it, and you don't mind if it just kind of gets lost or thrown away or whatever, but you still want to add that little DIY to the event. So we've got a cute little Halloween candy treat bowl. Of course, this can be something that you use to hand out your Halloween candy. You could fill it with some goodies and use it as kind of like a gift box, sort of, if you wanted to. But you know, this would be great as a little gift for someone, or again, to hold your own candy, or to bring some candy or treats to a workplace, a church, whatever it may be. So it's actually very simple too. Most of it is paper piecing. Let's take a look here what I have. I've done a little bit of pre-prep just to kind of avoid things being too monotonous. Now, I don't want you to get confused here, but this is the face of the bowl, and this is the inside. Now, the inside, and we did this to kind of make this a little bit more sturdy. So the inside, you'll notice, is going to have 2 panels that look like this, and a total of 4 panels that look like this. Now, I've already glued down 3 on this one, and 1 on this one here, and I'm just going to show you what I did. Now, also, just make sure that you're not doing it on the front. This is my texture side. This is my smooth side. I'm putting these panels on the inside to strengthen the actual piece. The outside has more decorative panels that, you know, actually have little words on them. They say trick or treat, and then there's one with a little skeleton hand who's got a little ring on his finger. Okay, so again, I just wanted to kind of speed this up a little bit because it's pretty straightforward, and again, very repetitive. Nothing special going on here, just putting some panels on the inside to strengthen that up. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing here. And again, this is going to add some nice strength to the piece, and also a little splash of color. Nothing like purples and oranges for Halloween. Gotta love that. And we're gonna leave this flat for now because as I mentioned in the past, I like to work flat whenever possible. So I'm gonna flip this over to the face or the front, okay? And there's, again, I did a little bit of pre-prep. This is the skeleton hand. And I'm gonna show you how that goes together. I did one of them already, and that's gonna go there. And then we've got a trick and a treat, and that's going to go on this side here, and then that's going to go on this side here, and we're just going to repeat that same process on the other side here and put it all together. We've got a little base and some trim. Very simple piece. Okay, so I'm not going to glue that down just yet. I'm going to work on this, and we're going to do this paper piecing portion first so that you guys know how to do it. Okay, now the skeleton portion, and don't tell me I already lost a piece. There's a little piece of a ring. It's a very small piece, so it'll probably pop out here somewhere. All right, first things first, we're going to take this and glue it to the white piece, and that is, in essence, going to create the white portion of our little skeleton hand. So let's get our glue onto this area. Now, for this project here on the hand, we're using a black glitter. So this paper is a little bit thicker. I can put a little bit more glue on it, and it won't really warp the paper. Try to get some of the little areas here where eventually you'll get carpal tunnel. And let's get that glued in place. Just follow the little scallop portions up at the top, and then also make sure that you've got it correctly aligned on the left and right sides. Should end up being flush at the bottom if you get all that in place. Give that a little push. For some reason it's weird on the screen. The glitter almost looks like it's blurry. Okay, so now as far as the skull goes, the skull's going to go at a bit of an angle, just like roughly like that. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. Whichever, as long as it's just on an angle like that is fine, is what I'm trying to say. With the glitter on this, it's kind of hard to put markers on it. You wouldn't be able to see them anyway. So just do your best to try to get that as closely as you can to resemble what we have here. Okay, so I'm just going to go at an angle here, like that. There's a little bit of a, kind of like a swoop on this knuckle here, so you can kind of use that as a guide. The round part of his jaw should kind of align with that swoop. Okay, so that's, I guess, kind of a good way to look at it. Let me put this one over here so I can use it as a guide. And you'll notice that there are two pieces for the main part of the ring. The larger piece is going to go on this side here. And I can tell that they're not the same. They're not at the same angle. They're not rotated the same, but you know what? It's okay. It's Halloween. Not worried about it. So this piece here goes right about there. You want to leave a little bit of a border there just to kind of make it look cool. You don't want to piece it directly on there. It shouldn't be like a puzzle. And grab one of these small little pieces. Just put one little dot of glue on them. Just a tiny little dot of glue. And we're going to glue that right above that ring. So it kind of gives the illusion of the back of the ring, I guess. Okay. And we'll get the larger piece here. Throw a little glue on that. Put way too much glue on that. And pop that into place here. Just like that. Oops. This glitter's a little difficult to work with sometimes, and I might have to wash that off because I got a little bit of glue on that, and it's okay. And then grab the other little tiny piece. Just a little dot of glue on that will do. And if you have your pick-me-up handy, then that would be the time to use it. And just drop that in there. Just make sure you create a little bit of separation between the skull and the actual other portion of the ring. I'll call it the bottom portion of the ring. There we go. Okay, that's good enough. All right, so that piece is done. So we've got two of these. You can see they are ready to go. Now we're going to take a look at the trick portion. Let me grab that. I've got all my bats and stars here. So we're just doing some paper piecing right now. And then the actual assembly is going to be very simple. Okay, so we got our large bat is going to go right over here. There are actual little markers to help you with the placement of all these. Definitely want to use them. But if they're just slightly off, it's not the end of the world. I don't think there's ever really the perfect place. I grabbed the wrong bat. Make sure that before you glue them that you get the right size, because that one was too big and it would have kind of flowed over the side of the paper there. So just make sure that you get the right size bat in place there. Okay. All right, let's grab this one here. Whoops. Let's get this bat in place. I'd say that this project should take you, oh, I don't know, maybe like 30 minutes, 45 minutes tops to put together. It's not really that involved of a project, mostly paper piecing. You probably, if you want to make a project out of this bundle with your kids or grandkids, nephews, nieces, whatever it may be, this is probably the one to do it with. And they'll have a fun time gluing down the bats and the little stars, and get the kids excited for probably one of their favorite days of the year. I know it was mine growing up, and boy, have things changed And I'm sure for you guys it's changed even more. But I remember, and I'm not even that old, I'm turning 36 tomorrow, and I remember trick-or-treating until midnight. I lived on the south side of Chicago as a kid, and my parents were Polish immigrants. They had no idea what Halloween really was. And actually the first year that I found out what it was, they wouldn't let me go because they had no idea what it was. And I think that, from that, you know how they say when you want something and people tell you you can't have it, and you want it even more. And I think that is what kind of spawned my love for Halloween. When I finally got to go trick-or-treating, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. All right, so there you have it. Just place the stars on there. You can see the sizes. So just get those in place. So that is our trick portion. And now let's take a look at our treat portion. Again, we're just paper piecing right now. Very casual, very simple. Nothing crazy going on here. But I remember my first childhood friend on the south side of Chicago. I went to Five Holy Martyr School. I have a friend named Sal across the street, and he was the first person I ever went trick-or-treating with. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And boy, probably shouldn't have been trick-or-treating that late. I'm sure that we probably annoyed a few people, but I think things were just a little more laid back then when it comes to that kind of stuff, because we didn't have to worry about anyone stealing us or whatever they do to kids these days. It's a horrible thing and just sad. But anyway, I don't like to think about that. I always like to think that I'm going to be the one that makes Halloween stronger and helps it live on. And you know, the neighborhood kids, when they see my house, they're in awe. Some of them are even afraid to come over here. I don't do a lot of bloody, gory stuff, but I do have a lot of creepy things around the house. I might have to give you guys a tour of my Halloween decorations this year. If you would like to see that, leave a comment and let me know, and I just may do that. All right, so this gold foil sometimes gets a little tarnished by the glue, but there you go. So you can see where that goes and how it goes. Again, there's guides along, mostly for the butt of the bat, I guess, and then there's little guides for the first little point on the wings. Okay, so that's that. These are the panels. So what we're going to do is we're going to glue these panels down first so we can get those in place, and then we're going to assemble this thing, as I mentioned. You may as well work on a flat surface whenever possible. So I'm going to grab my skeleton hand and get my glue on here. Of course, make sure that you get that glue out to the edges as close as you can so it doesn't come peeling off in any of those spots. I want it to look nice and professional. And then, of course, there's going to be a nice even border going all the way around. Make sure that it's nice and squared up at the bottom. Nice even border all the way around. And just push that down into place. Okay. There we go. And I'm going to put my trick on the left side, my treat on the right side. So let's get that glued down. Yeah, and do haunted houses every year. If well, I don't have a haunted house. I go to haunted houses. There's for those of you in Illinois, there's a theme park called Six Flags. They also have something called Fright Fest. Somehow, a special little someone in my life has turned me on to roller coasters, but I I have to take in and drink some special juice before I can ride one of those things because I'm too chicken in my natural state, so to speak. All right, so now we're going to put down the treat. Again, just make sure that you get enough coverage on this so it doesn't peel off. Maybe just get a few little dots in the center here where the actual caption is. Okay, and let's glue that down. These are really, really festive colors too. I really like this. I'm gonna start at the bottom here. I'm kind of locking my gaze at the bottom here, checking to make sure I got a nice even border, and then the rest of it should just fall into place. Oh, by the way, forgot to mention, I did do a little bit of inking on the green and the blue here. And that's just to kind of jazz it up a little bit. There we go. All right, so there's our trick, there's our treat. One half of it is done. We just have to glue these down on the other side, then we can assemble that, pop it on our base, and before you know it, this thing will be done. I don't think, I'm gonna say we're probably maybe 20 minutes into this video now, so we'll see if we can get it done in 30. I did do a little bit of pre-prep, but again, you know, I figure if you can get a project like this done in an hour, not only is it a great little time to yourself to enjoy what you love, but it's also meditative, and then at the end of the session, you've created something that you can share with others. And that to me is worth every minute. It's a stress reliever, and if it's a gift, it's gonna make you feel even better later. So to me, it's a win-win. Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. All right, let's see here. So we've got, that's gonna connect there. Now let's see. Okay, let's get our other trick in place. A fun little project. Oh, I gotta show you what I did and what I'm gonna put in mine. I'm not sure if I'm gonna give it to someone or if I'm just gonna use it, because I typically, believe it or not, I don't really stay home on Halloween. I go out and do haunted houses, and I like to go drive around and see all the yard haunts and all the people's decorations. I know some people do that for Christmas. I like to do that for Christmas too, but I really like to do it for Halloween. There's a lot of people that are pretty much as obsessed as I am, that are probably, as we speak, it being September, in the middle of decorating their yards. Okay, so the trick is in. Let's get our treat. And I would say that this one is pretty self-explanatory. I'm willing to bet that somebody makes this before the video's even out, because it's that simple. But I like making videos for you guys, so it's all good. All right, so let's get our treat in place and get it nice and centered, aligned with the bottom there, and drop it. Drop it like it's hot. There we go. Okay. All right, so got all of our sides assembled here. Yeah, you can tell this has got some weight to it, which is good because we're gonna need it. And at this point, what we can go ahead and do is take this tab here and glue it to that section there. I'm gonna go ahead and get my glue on this tab and get a little line out to the edge. Let me fold that in a little bit so I don't get any glue on the outside. Whoops. Okay, and just connect those two sides together. Just like that. Give it a push, let it set. And fold it over onto itself. Give it a little push there. Okay, and now let me fold this like this and get this piece ready for action. Let's get our glue on this tab here. And a fine line out to the edge. And spread that out. Okay. And you should literally be able to take this side and just fold it onto this side. It should meet pretty much perfectly. If it doesn't, just adjust it ever so slightly until it does. Yeah, mine's a tiny bit off, but maybe it's because of the shape, which is fine. Because you can always just go like this to connect the two pieces. There we go. And that looks good. Just going to take my X-Acto and get rid of some of that excess glue there and fold it over onto itself. Give it a little push. Make sure that gets a good grip. Oops. There we go. Oh, my bat wing. Glitter's cool, but sometimes it's a pain in the butt. Glue that wing back down. Okay. All right, so now I can go ahead and open this up. I'm going to flip this over like so. And what we're going to do is we're going to put glue on these tabs here. And we're going to close the bottom up. Just get a little bit of glue on each tab. And then, of course, a little line right out to the edge. Okay, and spread that thin so it doesn't come shooting out. It's also going to give us a nice clean seam. There we go. Come here, you. There we go. Perfect. All right, let's close her up. And I'm focusing on the hand here on this side, trying to get that aligned properly and precisely, and then the rest of it should almost fall into place, as it pretty much has, as you can see. Beautiful. All right, I'm going to flip this down. I'm going to push from the inside now. That looks good. Let's take a look at her. There we go. That looks good. Okay, now we have this little piece here that's going to go inside. And that is just an additional liner to hide our tabs and also to make this thing a little more sturdy. So go ahead and just put some glue on the tabs and then a little bit in the center. I'm going to put my texture side up because I want it to look pretty and pop it in there. Run your finger along the perimeter and just let that set. Okay, so there's our cute little bowl. And all that's left to do now is to make our little base here, which will only take a moment. Oh, before I get to that, I found these little baggies at Target, bought some candies, and just packed up some Milky Ways and some Three Musketeers. And they're just all going to go in there. Okay, so that is a cool way to bring stuff to, well, here, I'll show you. It's a cool way to bring stuff to work or school or church. And then, of course, if you are using this to hand out candy for Halloween, then you can just fill it with loose candy, and that's totally fine. So finally, our little base here, we've got this piece, and all we're going to do, I've already kind of pre-folded everything. You want to go ahead and fold everything at the tabs, okay? And we're just going to begin by connecting the sides together. Let's start with this piece here, and just throw a little bit of glue on this triangular tab. Try to get it right out to that very edge. It's a very small piece. I'm just going to dab it so that I get it all. And then just bring it in and connect it to its neighbor here. You can see, hopefully. Make sure everything is nice and lined up. And just hold that in place. Make sure that it really sets before you move on to the next piece. So got a nice little base for this thing just to kind of polish it off and make it look a little more done up. It's like throwing a little jewelry on there or something. Okay, there we go. Next piece, fold that over And just connect that, give it a squeeze. There we go. All right, next piece here. This will go quick too. I think this and the little goblin from this bundle are probably the quickest pieces. But of course, my favorite piece did take a little bit longer, but well worth it, I'd say. It's a really cool, vintage inspired, but very modern looking little treat box slash luminary. I think any Halloween lover would love that as well. So, all right, so we're just connecting the little triangular tabs to the neighboring wall pieces here. As you can see, there's our triangular tab. And just putting a little bit of glue on there, kind of dabbing it if necessary, and connecting it to the neighbor. Give it a good squeeze. My fingers are really sticky. And our last little piece here, get him in and dress him up with some glue. And you can fold this giant piece over just to make this easier for you. And just give it a squeeze. Okay, so our base is pretty much done here. Oops. Well, that didn't work very well. That did it. Just be patient. Make sure that it really completely sets before you move on. It could just be because my fingers are really sticky and I'm kind of peeling it off. Yeah, they sure are. Okay, so finally what we're going to do is close the lid on this, basically. And I'm going to get some glue on the tabs, and a nice little line right out to the edge, as always. Okay. There we go. And I'm going to just spread that right out to the edge. You can use a piece of paper if you want. I'm just using my finger because it's convenient. There we go. There we go. All right, so then flare these out just a tad and push that down, close it up. And again, as you go around, push down with your thumb, and you may need to kind of nudge the walls in or kind of pull them out ever so slightly just to kind of get everything nice and perfectly lined up. And that closed up perfectly for me. Okay. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so with this piece, I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to use this as my top because it's already nice and perfectly aligned and connected there. So that's going to be my top. That'll be my bottom. And all that's left to do is take these little squigglies, fold them at the score marks, and get them applied to the side of our little base here. You want to make sure that you get that nice and centered. So that's going to look like that. I'm going to start with the center and just get some glue all the way up and down there. And I'm going to just spread that out a little bit. I really don't think it matters which way it goes on, just as long as the other side connects correctly. So get that nice and centered right on your piece there. Give it a little push. Give it a few seconds to set. That looks good. Okay. And I can peel this back. I'm still holding down this side here so I don't accidentally lift it up. And just a little bit of glue here, not too much. Make sure you get that glue right out to the edge there. And then just push that over and down. should meet up with that other side perfectly, which it did. Okay, then peel this back. And just get a little bit of glue here. And bring that over. There we go. Get it nice and centered if possible. So there you go. And you just have to repeat that same process on the other side here. So we'll do that one more time. And then all that's left to do is just glue our little platform or the base onto the actual candy dish. And now again, let's do this real quick. Let's just make sure that this aligns correctly so we know which way to flip it. Okay, so that's gonna connect like that. And then the other side connects perfectly as well. Okay, so that's good. Let's start in the center. Get our glue in the center here. Glue it to the middle piece first. Get it nice and centered. And then before it fully sets, just make sure that it aligns correctly on both sides, and it does. Okay, so that's good. Give that a nice little push. Make sure it's centered. Okay, then we can take and peel this back a bit, get our glue onto that piece there, and line it up nicely here. There we go. And finally, this piece here. Voila. Okay, so that's that. Got the little accent piece on there. Find your best side. And I'm going to say it's this side here. And again, all we're going to do is just glue this right on top, and that should actually be completely flush with that so it doesn't stick out at all, doesn't protrude. And well, if that's the case, yep. Let's get our glue in the center here. Might want to cake it on a little heavy, but not too much. And then make sure you get that line out to the edge. So we want it to be nice and crisp and clean. I'm just going to take my finger and run it along the edge there, like that. There we go. And just pop that right on, nice and centered. Make sure that it matches up all the way around. You can push from the inside. It should be pretty stable at this point. And if you have something heavy that you can put in here to kind of weigh this down, or you can flip it. Well, I guess I wouldn't do that. Just use your hands and try to get as much of the perimeter as you can, because that's where we want it to bond nicely. And that's really it, y'all. So there is your spooky candy bowl. It only took about, I'd say, 45 minutes maybe put together. So give yourself an hour, hour and 10, including the cutting. Enjoy the process, and have a great Halloween, obviously. But if you enjoyed the video, please take a moment to visit us on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Always love to see more subscribers. Just lets me know that I'm doing a good job. And if you do make this, please share a photo on our Facebook page. Actually, our Facebook group. Visit Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Tree Group. We're about 7,000 strong now, and I would love to see your version of anything that you make from our website. So thank you again for joining me, and I look forward to crafting with you next time.
Stay on top of all things Dreaming Tree and engage with us today. Get the latest news and enter in our giveaways on Facebook. Get inspired by following us on Pinterest. Be the first to see our new product launches on Instagram. Do you prefer Twitter? Yep, we're there too. Watch our beautiful product trailers and assembly tutorials on YouTube. For more information, visit www.3dsvg.com. Live, craft, love, and dream.